Hello and welcome to episode 3 of Get Acclimated, part of the Altitude Sickness podcast. I am Tony, and today we're going to be going over Jake McCarthy. The Rockies traded for Jake McCarthy earlier in the offseason a few weeks ago from the Arizona Diamondbacks, and so today we're just going to do the same thing we've been doing in this series, and we're just going to go over him a little bit. This is the first hitter that I've gone over, and so that'll be a little more interesting. And so, but without further ado, we'll just get right on into it. And I figure I'll go a little into a little more background stuff with the player, just to give a little more information. And so first, like I said, he was traded from the Arizona Diamondbacks for minor league pitcher Josh Groves, who the Rockies traded Ryan McMahon to the Yankees for. And so instantly with that, even with just that, we now know how this front office is going to go about dealing from our minor league system. They clearly didn't see what the old front office and the old management saw with Josh Groves, and they moved on from him. And so that's just a little wrinkle in this whole debacle, but that doesn't really have to do with Jake McCarthy. I just find that very interesting. But he was drafted by the Diamondbacks in the first round out of University of Virginia, and so that's pretty cool. And so his 2025 stats. So the big thing with him is that he had a pretty down 2025. Played a lot of games between the majors and minors. So in 67 games, then therefore 222 plate appearances, he hit 204 with a 247 on base percentage and a 345 slug for a 592 OPS. So that's obviously a pretty rough slash line for Jake McCarthy. He also had 4 home runs with 20 RBI and a 62 OPS plus, and then from Fangraphs he had a 60 weighted runs created plus as well. So overall, a pretty not good hitter last year. He was also worth negative 0.1 Fangraphs WAR. And so overall, just not a great offensive year. I'm assuming just from inconsistency, maybe not consistent playing time. I know that down in Arizona they have a lot of outfielders, and so with him and Alec Thomas having to battle it out, maybe that was just causing, maybe his lack of performance led to him not getting that great of a rhythm going, and just didn't figure it out, because he was a pretty good hitter, a pretty decent hitter in years prior, and I think last year just was a little bit of a down year, so the Rockies are buying low on his stock right now. And so a few standout things that I find with him is his 18% strikeout rate, which would rank second on the Rockies team with players that are currently on the Rockies team from last year. So only Tyler Freeman, I believe, had a lower strikeout rate than Jake McCarthy, which is huge, because that's a big thing that the Rockies have to deal with, is no more striking out, because we strike out way too much and we do not hit. And we don't supplement that with the power that comes with that. And so I think a good way to cut at that is you just strike out less, because I think the power will come and the extra base hit potential will come just from playing at Coors Field. You don't need to be these massive hitters. Having these smaller slap hitters, I think, is perfectly fine. And having speedy outfielders is going to be very important, which is what Jake McCarthy is. And then he also had a 21.1% whiff rate, which would be third best on the Rockies of players that are still on the team. So that's good. I think that's clear what the front office was trading for. They were clearly looking for someone that doesn't strike out, that doesn't swing and miss, and that's absolutely what they need, because that's just what they do too much, frankly, especially last year. And the other standout stat I mentioned before is his sprint speed. This dude is fast. He's one of the fastest guys in baseball. He has a sprint speed of 29.9 feet per second, which was the 99th percentile in the MLB last year. He is just absolutely insanely fast. And some stat that also points to that is he had 5 triples. Now that doesn't really seem like a lot, but when you take into consideration that he was played of like half the games of not even half of the games last year, and he was tied 10th in the MLB in triples. That also would have been the tied for second most on the Rockies with 5. Only Mickey Moniak had more than 5 triples last year, and that's in half the games. And him playing half his games at Coors Field, all this dude will need to do is hit it just lightly into that gap in right center or even left center, and this dude's going to have infinite triples. So that's absolutely awesome. I think that that's such a great find for the Rockies. It's just a matter of him getting that ball there and hitting it there, but I think that that's going to hopefully come with him getting maybe a little more playing time, because I foresee him being the 4th outfielder in the Rockies' outfield rotation, however they go about it, because right now I'm projecting Jordan Beck in left, Brenton Doyle in center, and most likely Mickey Moniak in right, with Jake McCarthy filling in, probably mainly for Brenton Doyle, but also for the other guys when they need a day off, or maybe when we want a righty-lefty split, because he is a left-handed hitter, whereas Brenton Doyle obviously is a right-handed hitter. And so that's massive. I think that's going to be pretty helpful just to use him as a platoon. And so I think that that's a big reason why the Rockies went out and traded for him. So other notes, just other things. I mentioned him playing defense. He was worth 3 outs above average last year with a 2 fielding run value, according to StatCast. And so he's an above average outfielder. He does not have the strongest arm, but his speed is enough to give him that range that is going to just absolutely be crucial, especially playing center field at Coors Field, because it's arguably the hardest center field to play in baseball, and you need people that are fast, such as a Brenton Doyle or with Jake McCarthy. So that's just absolutely huge, and I think that was that's a big reason why Paulie Podesta and this new front office, they wanted to go and get him, was they were prioritizing that speedy glove outfielder that can go and get balls. So that's primarily, I think, why we went and got him. So looking at his splits, righty-lefty, he bats against lefties. He has a career 714 OPS with a 102 OPS plus, so above average, above league average hitter against lefties, which is interesting because he's a lefty. So you would think that his platoon split would be better against righties, but he has a 683 OPS and 94 OPS plus against righties, and so it's pretty interesting. That could just be a matter of the lefty splits could most likely be inflated a tiny bit, because if he played less against lefties, then that's less time against them. But who knows? And so, but hopefully, I mean, this year, I foresee him being a lot platoon 4th outfielder type of arrangement, and that also fully depends on how Brenton Doyle plays this year, but that also depends on how he plays. If he plays his way into that lineup every week, then that's good. That means the Rockies found something and can use that to their advantage. And other few notes that I found with him, really small thing, is that last year in 2025, he had his lowest opposite field hit percentage of his career last year. And so I just find that kind of interesting because, I don't know, that just seems like a really helpful thing at Coors, is being able to hit to all fields, because you're going to have way more space there. That's why someone like the Rockies, hypothetically, if they were to sign someone like a Luis Arraez who can spray the ball everywhere, I think he would be a very, very good hitter at Coors Field. And so hopefully Jake McCarthy can find a way to get more of that opposite field hit ability again, because I think that that's just going to open up more avenues for him to perform better at Coors and as a Rockies fielder. So, or as a Rockies player, I mean. And so his 2026 projections, nothing crazy, according to Fangraphs, in 79 games. So again, that seems very fourth outfielder kind of thing, about half the season. They haven't projected hitting 270, 331, 406. So they're expecting a full bounce back and him to take advantage, I'm assuming at Coors Field, pretty highly. And so I like that, obviously. That'd be a 737 OPS with with 7 home runs, which he's not going to be a guy that's going to go out there and hit a lot of home runs for you. That's just not his game. But that's fine. That's not what he's meant to be. He's meant going to be used for that glove first, can not strike out guy. And so that's also very fast. And then 92 WRC plus and 0.6 F4. And so nothing going to blow your socks off here. And I don't think the Rockies are expecting him to become the next, like Carlos Gonzalez here. But at the same time, I mean, they traded for the glove and the speed and the low strikeout ability. I think that was a big thing for them that the front office was looking for. And that's just a good thing to have, I think. And so, but overall, that's all I've got on him. Not much. It's a pretty standard outlook right now for him. Again, him being the fourth outfielder, appears to be, he's going to be on the major league roster. He doesn't have a minor league option. He's on the major league roster for sure. And so he's going to definitely get playing time this year, which should hopefully be exciting. And depending on what the Rockies do further in this offseason, whether that be trade any more outfielders, because we have so many, who knows? I would be shocked if they traded Jake McCarthy after picking him up, especially because this seemed to be one of the guys' profiles, at least, that the front office has clearly been looking for. But who knows? But excited to see him play for the Rockies. And that's about all I've got on him. Not much here. A little bit of a shorter video, but all good. But I thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you all later. All right, bye.